Hello, HMS Bobcats, Mr. Flato here, coming live and direct. Well, not live, but recorded from my office. Got a brand new Bob lesson for you today. This Bob lesson was inspired by a conversation I was having with a seventh grade student the other day. This Bob lesson is going to be titled Life is Like the Stock Market. And I'm going to give a brief kind of career thing with the stock market and investing and delayed gratification. Just a little bit of an example and intro, but then I'm going to really talk about how life is like the stock market and you can't get too high, you can't get too low. You're going to have dips, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, and how, the general trajectory you want to be on is the key that I hope we all shoot for. So, hang with me at the beginning of this. I'm going to explain, but hopefully for some of you, it's going to be really interesting material when it comes to investing money someday in retirement and how the world around them works, how money works. But then we're going to tie it to a metaphor of the stock market and how it can a lot of times be like life with the ups and downs of it. So, hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys are having a great day. Let's get off and running on this. All right, let's get rock and roll on this Bob lesson. As I said in the intro, this lesson is going to be titled Life is Like the Stock Market. But first, before we get rocking and rolling on this, as always, let's be our best this week at HMS. Let's be safe. Let's be responsible. Let's be respectful. Let's be a learner. I think the first order of business is to define and educate everybody on what is the stock market. The stock market essentially is a virtual place where large companies offer ownership of their company in the form of shares or stocks. Shares are tiny slices of percentage ownership of any company. This is assuming that a company is like a publicly traded company, which most of the big ones are. Those companies are actually owned by thousands and thousands of people that actually own the stock in them. People can purchase these shares with the expectation that when a company does well, the value of the company goes up in value, along with the cost of their shares. So you purchase the share, hoping the company does good, anticipating the company does good, then that share you own goes up in value and therefore your profit goes up in value or your ownership does. When the price of the share goes up in value, people make money on their investment when they go to sell. If they buy it at $5 a share and 2 years later it's worth $10 a share, then they sell it, then they have doubled their money or made profit on it. Additionally, a lot of companies pay out dividends or financial rewards quarterly, which is every 3 months in the business world, and annually, which is once a year, with the value being dependent on how well that particular stock has done that year. And I'm going to give you an examples of some things here in a little bit. So not only does the value of the stock you own go up, but they pay you like a reward for owning it if the every year if the company does well. Why do people invest in the stock market? You might be wondering and asking yourself. Well, everyone obviously does it to make money, but most people do it so that one day they can retire and not have to work. So, me, for example, I take a little percentage of what I earn every month, I invest it in the stock market, and I do that over and over every month, every month, every month. And as I'm doing that, the money is growing so that one day when it is time to not work anymore, I have that pool of money sitting there that I can live off of. Instead of leaving your money in the bank, people invest it so that their money can in turn make more money for them. We call that compound interest. I'm not going to go super into debt on that. This requires something called delayed gratification, which is giving up something they can have right now for a lot more of it in the future. Imagine if I offered you a Snicker bar, a mini Snicker bar right now, and said, if you wait till tomorrow, I'll give you a full size Snicker bar. Well, you have a decision to make. You want to wait till tomorrow and roughly have twice as big of one? Or what if I said, if you wait a week, I'll get you a jumbo size Snickers bar? That's kind of what delayed gratification is. Historically, the stock market has always gone up in value and made people money that are in the stock market, although there are intermittent times when people do lose their money. All right, so let's take a look at a product that I'm sure all of you, or a company that I'm sure all of you are familiar with. This would be Apple. So this is a bar graph of Apple stock going back to when they first offered it. It looks like back in 1981. As you can see, their stock was like 12 cents, really worth nothing here up until really about when it started to take off was 2007. And that date's important because that's when they first started coming out with the iPhone, which is one of their most successful products. As you can see, going from 2007 Back in this day, their stock was worth, $4, $3, $4 a share. If you look at what it's worth today, it's worth $132 a share. So let's just do some quick math. Let's pretend that, oh, February 28th, 2007, that's my birthday. Let's just, it settled on there. Let's say you took $1,000 and you invested it in Apple stock back in 2007. You took that $1,000 and you divided it by $3.02 a share. You were able to buy 331 shares of Apple stock. Let's pretend that we left it in and we didn't do anything with it and we invested it. And what's that worth today? Well, we have those 331 shares. We would have been paid dividends and things over the years, but we're not going to talk about that yet. And now that it's worth $132.72 a share, that $1,000 investment now is worth 43,000, just under $44,000. As you can see with the iPhone, this company's done very well. Their iPhones, their iPads, their computers, their watches, everything, they're making money, they're making profits, and everybody that invested in it has now their investment and their stock is worth a lot more money. So this is just an example of Apple stock. I want to talk about one other thing, and then I'm going to tie this together of what this has to do with middle school students. This is a mutual fund. This is something very similar that is actually something that I've invested in, going back from 2006, and this is pretty characteristic of how most stocks go, where you have a series of ups and downs. But for the most part, if you look at over the years, we're steady climbing, we're steady getting in a better spot. Now, obviously, there's some down moments that happen. This down moment last spring was when the pandemic hit. This down moment happened in late 2018. I'm not sure what this was, probably a recessionary type situation, but how I want to compare this to is how this can feel like life sometimes. Life can be a series of ups and downs. Right now, I'm looking at a 5-year view. I could go on and look at 1 week, 1 month, but this is pretty characteristic of how life can feel sometimes. And this is really what I want middle school students to take out of this lesson: is life is a series of ups and downs. You've got some small, medium downs. You've got series where things are climbing and things are going really well. We've got some more severe downs, a huge down here, like I talked about, and then a major down here. Sometimes we have major life events that happen that seem very difficult to come back from. Some weeks or some months maybe are harder than others. I've had several down weeks with this stock that I own, and even a down month. But the thing I want you to know is that this is life and this happens. Talk about grit, talk about perseverance, talk about overcoming adversity, just like this stock does or has for the last 4 or 5 years. That is exactly how we need to be in life as well. We need to enjoy the days and the weeks and the months and the years where things are going good. But when we have those down moments or those down days where things don't go our way, or those down weeks when weeks don't go our way, or down months when things don't go and we end up in a series of of things that we got to overcome, we've got to keep our head up and know that we got to wake up every day and we got to keep fighting and we got to keep staying perseverant and we got to stay gritty. One of the things that I really want you to look at is if you go back to like 2006, which isn't 16, which isn't on here, every year we're going up. And the steady climb when it comes to middle school students and into high school and into life needs to be, yes, weathering these up and downs, but we got to ultimately be on an upward trajectory. If you look at where we started in 2016, this is probably a little under $25 a share, right? If you look at where it's at today, when I took this screenshot, it's at $31 a share. So it's gone up in value, and your lives are going to go up in value, and how life goes is going to go up in value. And, I'm talking from a monetary or a money standpoint right here, but ultimately, your skill set, your perseverance, your happiness in life, your friendships in life, your relationships in life, your belief in yourself in life, your academics, your skill sets, everything should hopefully be on an upward trajectory. So don't get too caught up in the ups and downs that happen. These ups and downs are going to happen. I want you to look at sometimes, or encourage you to look at things from a standpoint of from 1 year to the next, and even with the ups and downs, life should be like the stock market, where it's a steady grind, but it's a steady uphill grind in the things we do. I hope that metaphor made sense to everybody.